Good morning and welcome to this morning's edition of your Monday Morning Espresso Shot. I hope everybody is staying warm. I know in my neck of the woods, we're having a freeze warning here. So it's like minus 30 degrees Celsius. So, so hope everybody's staying warm and had a wonderful Christmas weekend. And let's see if we can kickstart the new year with a bang. So let us begin now by placing our awareness in the area of the heart. This is where we always begin, and this is what we start with every day in the morning. By placing our awareness in the area of our heart, we take slow, deep breaths and just visualize or experience or feel these breaths flowing in and out of our hearts. This maintains awareness in the area of the heart, which is really where all the magic happens with the magnetic fields and your emotions encoded on the magnetic field of the heart. So take those deep, slow breaths and just experiencing these breaths flowing in and out of our hearts very slowly, very gently, and mindfully. Let's do that for a few breaths. Take those breaths in even deeper if you can, if it's comfortable. Take that oxygen all the way down to your perineum. Like imagine it's flowing into your heart and down to your root chakra. And as you exhale, exhale from your root chakra out from your heart. You'll be breathing in from your nose or your mouth, but just visualization allows your entire lung capacity to be used to distribute much needed oxygen to the extremities of your bodies. So let us do that. And let us balance our autonomic nervous system, our sympathetic, our parasympathetic systems by taking these slow, deep, gentle breaths and just experiencing them flowing in and out of our hearts. Slow, deep, gentle breaths. Take your time with your body. Just experience the nurturing you're giving your body right now by taking these slow, deep breaths and allowing just you to focus on you. Wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you so much for joining me. I got a note that there's audio troubles. Please type into your chat area if you're having audio trouble right now, if you can't hear me. Hopefully, you can hear me. Um, and so before we begin, I'm just going to go into the chat area. Good morning, Cynthia. Thank you so much for joining us today. Aloha, Marie. How are you, Sister Marie from Czech Republic? Thank you so much for joining us this morning, at least morning my time. Wonderful. I see that Cynthia, audio is back. Dawn, audio is back. Wonderful. Thank you, Dawn. Appreciate that. So let's just dive right into the DNA Lighthouse. And let's just go right there. And this is something that I read about and I experienced. So there is such a thing as biophotonics. Biophotonics, it's a big word, but the nature of our DNA is such. And if for those of us who do not know where the DNA is situated, every cell in our body, most of our cells in our body have a nucleus, and there's 100 trillion cells in our body, 100 trillion or so cells in our body. And that's all we're made up of, these cells that work together to form different organs and our skin and everything. Every cell, most cells, have a nucleus or center point where there's a DNA. Okay, so essentially your DNA in your ear is the same as your DNA in your heart. The only difference between the two is the marching orders it gets from somewhere that says you are going to perform as an ear and you are going to perform as a heart. But you can take a cell from your heart and it has all the building blocks of any other organ in your body. And this is the interesting part about the DNA, is because when you are born, somehow the energy field is set up such that the kidneys develop their own function, and they know exactly that they're the kidney, that they're not supposed to create heart cells. They're supposed to create kidney cells and everything that's complex around the kidney, same as all the other systems in your body, which is an interesting concept because really it's just the energy field that's set up from the divine presence and says, this is how you set it up. The interesting part is there's been a recent scientific discovery. When I say recent, this information that I received was from 2014. Okay, it's fairly recent in science terms. But at that time, scientists had discovered, and these have been documented in peer-reviewed journals and all kinds of science magazines, that your DNA can actually emit and receive light, photons. Okay, so the light that is emitted from the DNA is in the visible spectrum. So, but it's such a low level intensity that you can't pick it up with a naked eye unless you amplify that light with special equipment. And that's what the scientists did. The DNA, when you use special equipment, you can actually see the photons, the light that is received and emitted by the DNA. So what is the DNA and what does it have? Back in the 70s or 80s, scientists had dismissed 90% of the DNA as junk DNA because they couldn't make sense of it. They couldn't understand how it worked. They could only map a small portion of it. But the 90%, it has now come to light pun, that the 90% of it is actually multidimensional. So if you think about it, what does the DNA contain? The DNA contains all the information, everything that you need for whatever is happening in this lifetime, all the templates. If you are prone to diseases, it has a template for making sure the disease propagates, or it has got a plan B that says, okay, well, if this human being decides to get rid of this disease, then here's a new template for that. You've got all the blueprints in that DNA, and it receives and sends light. So where does this light come from? Where is it receiving? How is it communicating? Using it to communicate. Remember earlier we mentioned about how the light, how that light communicates, how the DNA emits and receives light. Well, the interesting part is that how your body is set up from the different kidneys and heart and all that. That's how it communicates. This is the marching order for the heart. You build heart cells and you build kidney cells, and that intelligence is there with us right now. Not only that, but let's go into the little bit of a speculative realm. It is also accessing all the bodies that have shared this DNA with you, your ancestors, of course, your family members, that DNA is the same. So if your ancestors had experienced pain or suffering or emotional distress in the past, this particular light frequency that's emitted by DNA and received by DNA is multidimensional. So the point that I want to bring home across, and we can certainly talk about it after the next part, is that you can actually, by healing yourself, by diving deep within and accessing that healing power from within, you can heal the pain of the ancestors and anything that's behind you, so that you can clear the energy for your progeny, for your children. And that is really our job. Our job is not to help this person or that person. Of course, it's wonderful to do that. But first, we must start from within. The light, we are the lighthouse. It does start from within. So let us now begin to burn that lighthouse even brighter. Let us start placing our awareness in the area of the heart and taking slow, deep, gentle breaths. And just experience these breaths flowing in and out of our hearts. And this is where we begin to experience joy and gratitude. The light that is shining in our DNA, that's emitted by our DNA or introduced into us from outside of us, that particular light gets amplified, brighter, whenever we experience joy or gratitude. That is the frequency that we are tending to. So by just experiencing joy, gratitude, appreciation, and feeling of peace and love for others, we are now allowing the communication to happen between our DNA molecules within our body to begin to heal the process. This particular communication is happening with our ancestors, with those that have passed away, with those that are going to be our grandchildren in the future or their grandchildren, because all past, present, and future is multidimensional. So all possibilities are out there. We must start from within and begin to heal from our hearts. And the way we do that is by experiencing joy and gratitude. So let's take these few minutes and draw in those deep breaths. 5 seconds in, 5 seconds out, and imagine these flowing into our hearts and flowing out of our hearts. And if you can breathe even deeper, taking the breaths into our perineum or root chakra and then back out again, very gently flowing, not stopping at the top or at the bottom. Just allow the breaths to flow with a smile on your face and gratitude in our hearts. Now invite your body to access a more intense version of these emotions. The more intense version of these emotions, the more beneficial it'll be for your body. The frequencies will have amplitude. So there'll be vibration and an amplification of that vibration. Just like the DNA light is visible to us, but it's very faint. If we amplify this, the light goes brighter. By amplification, I mean feeling a more intense version of these emotions. Just access them. Give your body permission to access a more intense version of gratitude and appreciation. Allow the tears to flow. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. Truly appreciate your participation. There are some comments coming through, so I'm just going to give you a few more minutes to type in your reflections, or even if you wanted to comment or ask questions, I'm happy to do that. The Igniting the Joy Factor, this is what it's all about. It's about creating that lighthouse from within. And this 3-part series allows us to do that. It gives us the mechanisms, the specifics on how to start creating joy from within using heart math, neuro-linguistic programming, and a few other tricks I picked up. All right. And if I can be of service to help you shift out of your own way, I'm happy to do that. We can talk about this and I can see if we're a fit for each other. So give me a shout if you want to chat about that. All right. Time to ask questions, or if you have any comments, happy to do that. I'll just go through the chat area and see. Good morning, Cynthia. Thank you so much again. Aloha, Marie, again from Czech Republic. And then wonderful. Everybody's saying audio is back. I'm glad you can hear me, because otherwise it would be pretty lonely if I were just speaking by myself here. Thank you very much again for joining. There are no more questions coming through. I want to wish you a wonderful, wonderful 2022 coming up next year. Thank you so much for joining me once again. All the best to you, and I'll see you another time. Take care.